I pray to the divinity in you. If you aspire to live for 100 years, for a long span of life, then only long span of life is not important. You need to have richness in life, quality in life. Sannyasins say different thing. Those who are renunciates, they say it doesn't matter how many years we live. We don't follow this. We don't want to live for 100 years. Why should we live for 100 years? You have desires to fulfill. We don't have any desires. You give importance to the objects of the world, to the world. We don't. We are realized. We have realized and we have accomplished what we had to. We don't have any lust for living for 100 years. So they don't follow this. This is not meant for the sannyasins, for those who are renunciates. Now, if you want to live for 100 years, if you have a desire to live for a long time, then remember the technique of enjoying that span of life is to understand something about your duties. You should learn to do your duties with love. Duty, I want to explain today, that any action that you perform, not that you want to, but you are helpless. It's a human helplessness. You have to. You cannot live without functioning. You cannot live without doing your duties. Long before you were born in a particular family, community, society and country, there are already duties for you. Yes, you can renounce the duties. You can renounce your families and spouse, provided you faithfully and loyally learn to serve your town. For the sake of service of others, you can renounce your small family. And you can renounce your town for the service of your community, country. And you can renounce your country for the service of humanity. So those who are renunciate, for them, they say it is immaterial how long we live. Another viewpoint. You see, what do they say? They say there was a man once, he prayed and prayed, and all the time he used to pray and said, "My Lord, let me become immortal." So prayer is equally valid. As you think that meditation is important, it is. Prayer is also important. Prayer is also replied, provided you understand the technique and way of prayer, and you do not pray egocentrically. God-centered prayer is very useful. You are praying to the God who is within you. You become aware of that. That expands your awareness. So God said, "Tell me, you have been praying with one single pointed mind. Let me know what you want, son." He said, "I want my body to be immortal." He said, "You want your body to be immortal while the nature of the body is subject to change, death, decay and decomposition? How come do you have such a desire?" He said, "I have only one desire, and you are Lord of life and of the universe. Can you give me this boon? Or say you are not?" He said, "Eva mastu." That will happen. But he said, before this desire is fulfilled of yours and my boon works, let you go to that mountain, the fountain there, and drink the water of that fountain. He rushed to the fountain. There, when he wanted to drink the water, he saw many, many mortals crying there. He said, "Stop! We are suffering here. Why do you want to suffer? Don't drink this water. It's horrible to wish for long span of life without any purpose. Just to enjoy the sense objects, just to have sense experience. So don't do this. You will suffer." Suddenly he realized that there is something beyond sense objects. There is something beyond mind. And that kingdom within you, which is called kingdom of Atman or soul or the Lord, alone emancipates and liberates. And suddenly he got freedom. But here, Upanishad systematically deals with the human problems and says, first thing, that, O man, you should learn, first freedom you should have, to be free from the bondage of karma. How karma action creates bondage for you. You should learn that. Now there are 4 kingdoms. The kingdom of animals. There is another below that. The kingdom of plants. And lowest is the kingdom of rocks, dirt and clay. Then comes the kingdom of plants, then comes kingdom of, you see, animals, and then comes kingdom of human beings. I always say, O man, never aspire to be a god, for you are already God. God is in you. How can you deny? How can you live without His existence? So what do you want to become then? You have to learn to be a perfect human being, so that you can relate with other human beings, so that you understand what human qualities are. You are endowed with 3 principal qualities. Divine in you, man in you, human in you, and animal in you. Which one do you promote? Do you promote animal in you? Do you promote human in you? Or do you promote divine in you? You know, as far as knowledge is concerned, do not lie to yourself and others. You know what is to be known. You know the goal of life, because all the time you aspire for happiness, that happiness which is not subject to change. Where you lack, and that's called practice, and how to practice. How to conduct your life so that you attain happiness in this lifetime, here and now. He said, life becomes impossible on the earth for the householders. If a householder likes to live for 100 years without doing anything, it will become difficult. You should aspire to live for a long time, because you have to attain the goal of life, but by doing your duties. What are your duties? I told you, a human being cannot live without doing actions. Only human being has got a power. Karmani vajikaraste ma phalesu kadachana. Gita says, modified teachings of the Upanishads is Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. That explains. O man, you have right to perform your duties or karma, but you have no right to enjoy the fruits of your karma. Because if you do that, you suffer. So remember, suffering comes when you become selfish. When you start enjoying the fruits of your deeds, therein comes suffering. Yes, you can. You can enjoy the fruits of your actions by offering them to others who need. And you can live comfortably. You are allowed to live comfortably. But you are not allowed to accumulate the wealth, because for this you will be establishing a tradition for exploitation. You will be establishing a new culture, new training, new teaching, new preaching, and that's not healthy, that's not good. You are allowed to live comfortably so that life span is 100 years, so that you accomplish the purpose of life. But you are not allowed to accumulate wealth. How do you accumulate wealth? Somehow, somewhere, you are exploiting someone, depriving somebody. You don't have to deprive others for your own existence. You don't need to do that. That's a lust. Lust not man, Upanishads say. Go on performing your actions, but do not forget the first commitment or commandment. Idam sarvam visha vashyam. All this is covered by only one God, absolute truth, who is within you and without. Do not forget that. And the second phrase gives the technique. Tena tena bhunjitha ma gridha kasya sudhanam. I apply it with second mantra. Go on performing your duties. But if you really want to enjoy freedom, then renounce all the fruits of your duties and you are free. You cannot renounce your karma and actions. Not possible. You cannot live without that. When you perform one action, you receive the fruits. Those fruits motivate you to do more actions. This goes on, this becomes a whirlpool for you and you cannot come out of it. So who creates whirlpool for you? Not the karma, but the fruits of karma that you receive. Gita explains beautifully something. When Arjuna, a great warrior and disciple of Sri Krishna, was confused, Krishna told him, Karpanya doso prahatsuvava prichvami tvam dharma samudacheta. You are becoming miser. Miser, who is miser? One who performs his duties, actions, but wants to enjoy all the fruits for himself is miser and he suffers. You see. Learn to give. Freedom comes from giving and not from taking. This is another thing. As long as you have desire to take, you are not free. All the time you are brooding on something. I want this and I want this, and then your nights are laden with wants and your days with desires. You see. How it is possible for you to have freedom? And you want to have first freedom. That first freedom will come by knowing the technique of performing your duties and actions. I told you. To perform action is a must. You are helpless there. But you human beings have something, and that is called you know how to love. You have power to give. And to give means to love. That expression of love is giving. So when you talk about love, where you are not at all concerned, one who is not close to you physically or by birth or by, you see, caste or creed, there you give. Whatever you have, whatever you can easily do. You learn to give. When you learn to give and you are doing your actions, that is called greasing your duties with love. A human being is helpless as far as actions are concerned. He has to perform actions. Even the Swamis, those who are renunciates, have to perform certain actions which lead them towards Brahman. Brahman consciousness, truth consciousness, truth awareness. So you know your duties. What are your duties? Your duties are divided into two sections. The duties which you perform for yourself, but not for your neighbors and other members of the family. By going to bathroom, washing yourself, taking baths, you see, finishing your morning ablutions. Nityanamit karma. These duties, if you do not perform, you will get sick. You will be unhealthy. But there are certain duties you have for others, towards others. And another set of duties. That another set of duties makes you aware that you are not animal, your lives are not controlled by the nature. The difference between you and animal is only one. We human beings are exactly like animal as far as our appetites are concerned. Which are our appetites? Primitive appetites, primitive fountains are one and the same. Food. Animals also eat food. Human beings also eat food. If the poison is mixed and you are very hungry, and suddenly someone says, stop, there is poison in it, you will stop it. But you cannot do it with animal. He has no sense. It has no sense. Sleep, sex, and self-preservation. These four primitive fountains are equally active in human beings and animals and creatures. All the creatures that live, whether they live in human form or animal form or in the form of insect, birds or anything, these all primitive fountains are active. Even in plant life, as far as you can see life, examine life, in its manifestation, you come to know that these four primitive fountains are active in all human beings. The difference is human beings can control them. Animals do not have any sense because their activities are controlled by the nature. Human activities are not controlled by the nature totally. Biologically, I should fall down. See, why a human being does not fall down? He has something beyond this apparent nature, some power. So human being has some power which other kingdoms do not have. Power of narration, power of smiling. No species in the world has. You can smile. You see. When you become in the cycle of providence, you become human being, then you are endowed with certain gifts. And one of the gifts is doing your duties. You have right to do your duties. But when you have right to your duties, you have right to reap the fruits of your duties. You cannot live without doing, but you can live without having. You can offer those. So actual freedom comes if you go on working, if you start working for each other. Why this family setup in the world? Why a man needs wife and wife needs man, and they do not belong to same family or community, they are far away, distance, they fall in love and they establish, they become very close and they share. Why? That is the law. The law subtly tells you the husband should learn to give without any reservation to his wife, and wife should learn to give to husband. Because then they both will be free. For the sake of freedom, you get married. But examine, do you really find that freedom after marriage? No, you don't. You cannot tell me this because it will hurt others, those who are trying to get into the fortress. Those who are already inside, they cannot come out. But those who are outside, they are trying to get in out of curiosity, biological necessity, or several other things. Because they forget the principle of giving. If you give whatever you have without any reservation, your marriage will be a great poem, poetry and song. And if not, if you forget that, your marriage will be a great cry, tragedy. And then two actors are playing the part which creates tragedy all the time. No. The family setup created by the ancients was wonderful. That normally a human being is helpless. He does certain actions, he reaps the fruits, and those fruits motivate him to do more actions, and there is no end that goes on, and it goes on for several lifetimes. To live one life is not enough for all the experiences you have. But the subject matter for life and hereafter will be discussed in another Upanishad called Kathopanishad, totally devoted to this subject. Is there any life hereafter? It discusses. This Upanishad is devoted to knowledge and the way you have to lead. What is the nature of the Atman? What is the nature of the universe? What is the nature of the Brahman? The ultimate reality. See, and what is the way of getting freedom, emancipation from the bondages? And what is first bondage that we feel? As a human being, I want to be free. That is my birthright, but I am not getting that freedom. Ignorance says, it's God, the way God has created me. Upanishad says, no, 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 no. That power of equality, that great Lord of life and the universe is not partial at all. He loves all equally. Sun shines for all equally, moon pales its light for all equally, it rains for all equally. How do you say that God is partial? Providence is partial. Partiality is, or discrimination has been created by your own deeds, the world you have created over the world of the Lord. There are two worlds, the world that you see created by the nature and the world created by you. This is my world, this is my world, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. And that is important for family setup. But application of the Upanishadic mantra is this, that, O human being, learn to do your duty if you aspire to live for long life. Life will become boredom. Impossible. Very few people know how to enjoy leisure. Don't you see, many retired people, they get retired, but they don't know what to do with their retired life. And soon they become victim of certain disease. They are trapped by inertia. They are trapped by alasya. They are trapped by, you see, sloth. And they become victim. They become irregulated. Their life plan is not there. They think that by being, but those who know how to enjoy leisure, they regain the health. You see, it's a technique. I told you yesterday that I will explain to you something about the health general thing. First principle is not food. It is important, but it comes in second category. First principle is cheerfulness. Many poor people in India, I find, they don't have anything. They don't have even a square nail to it. But they are very cheerful. Even the richest man who owns many, many Rolls Royce and Mercedes asks the poor man's wife, will you marry me? He says, get out, you filthy rich. I love my husband. Because she's very happy, cheerful with her husband. Riches will not buy her love. Cannot buy her. You see, I have seen it. I have seen rich people suffering. I saw somebody, and it is like intoxication, I tell you. Because human mind is conditioned by the habit patterns. When finally you see how human mind is conditioned, you come to know it's a habit. Even after death, what happens to you? Where do you go? You say hell and heaven. That's not the right explanation. You don't go either to hell or heaven. You can know today where you are going in future after death. How? By understanding your habit patterns. What have you been doing here? How your habits are leading you, motivating you on the earth. So your soul remains entangled in the snare of your habit patterns. You neither go to hell nor heaven. Or if at all you go, you create your own hell and heaven because of your habit patterns. That's why I say, transform yourself. Any habit can be broken. You need to create a groove and understand how the habit has been formed. Repeatedly you did something, habit pattern has become very strong, it has become a part of your life. Now repeatedly you have to make effort, create a new groove so that mind, instead of flowing to old groove, starts flowing to new groove. Habits can be changed. You see, alcoholism, any sort of habit, drug addiction, any sort of habit can be broken. You can completely change, transform your personality by changing your habit patterns. But you have to make efforts. Somewhere you find helplessness, you can take someone's help. Sometimes you don't find helplessness, you can say. How habits make you feel happy or unhappy? You can see with a dog. Just get a piece of bone and give it to your dog, that dog. Dog starts chewing that bone. Doesn't find any joy. After some time, the dog finds something is bleeding. And dog starts licking that and starts finding joy. Do you know from where that blood is coming? It's coming from the mouth of the dog. All your joys are like that. Joys are within you, and you think that objects of the world are giving you joys. They don't give you joys. You are the enjoyer, all the joys are with you. Objects are just like that. Nothing in the external world can give you happiness, man. They can give you only momentary joys. But those joys are not perfectly satisfying. Every after joy, one joy, you land into some grief or sorrow. Because you cannot retain that joy for a long time. So here comes the point. You see the worldly joy is not complete, and at the same time you see that joy is something great. So I wish the joy is everlasting. For everlasting joy, everlasting happiness, you are doing work, you live in the world. You want to accomplish everlasting joy. Everlasting joy is found in the Brahman, that absolute truth within you. That's what the Upanishads say. Upanishads say the absolute joy is there. Absolute happiness, everlasting happiness is there. But you are searching at a wrong place. If you churn the sand for 100 years, with all your brilliance, intelligence and might, it will never give you cosmetics. It won't. You are working hard. You are finding, you are trying to search that immortal joy, that everlasting joy in the external world. No. It's within you. What do you mean by within? The scriptures say it's beyond sense perception. Beyond your mind. What do you mean by beyond? Far away? No. Beyond means within. Real interpretation of the word beyond, applicable according to Vedanta, is called within you. Beyond the grasp of your senses. Beyond the grasp of your mind. Beyond the grasp of your ego. Ego, mind and senses cannot reach there. That's why it's called beyond, though it is within you. So, human being, you should learn to love. The gist is, all the actions you are performing, learn to perform your actions with love. Then the actions will not create bondage for you. Because love will give you freedom. Actions will give you bondage. You have to do action. Without love, if you are performing actions, you cannot have freedom. Freedom, 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 and strength, strength and strength. But that's all within you. You should not lean on the external strengths. You should lean on the inside. One day I tell you, that day I learnt a great secret of my life. I always tell my students this story. I was a teenager standing outside the cave with my kurta pajama. But I was so proud, so humble, both together. I was proud that I always used to think my master is the greatest one, was the greatest one. You see. And after realizing it, I used to become very humble because he always told me, be humble. But I did not understand what that humbleness was at that age. So I was standing outside in the morning at 8 or 9 o'clock. When the prince comes with all his paraphernalia, his secretaries and bodyguards, he is still alive. You see. There is no state, so there is no prince. Poor fellow. Oh, he was educated in London. So he said, "Hey, Brahmachari," just exactly like this, "Hey, Brahmachari." I said, this man seems to be very arrogant. Because I didn't care for anybody except my master, no matter who he was. I said, "Hey, who are you?" So that secretary said, "Sir, he is a young boy, he doesn't know you." He said, "Do you know who is he?" I said, "I don't care who the hell is he." He said, "He is the prince of this estate." I said, "I am the prince of this cave." And I was the only prince there. I said, who are you? Talk to me nicely as I am talking to you. He said, "Sir, can I see your master?" I said, "No, you are humble. You can see." So I took him inside and asked all others to stand outside. Unless you get permission, stay here. Everyone has guns and secretaries were there. So when he went inside, in his British manner, he said, "Sir, you seem to be lonesome." He was. You know what did he reply? He said, "Son, because you have come. So now I am lonesome." Now, understand this point. Who makes you lonesome? You are complete unto thyself. Complete unto thyself. You become lonesome when you forget the great friend within yourself. Remember, this humanity, this whole universe, no matter how many research it conducts in which part of the world, there is one very serious disease. Even the healthiest person have that, and that's called loneliness. That cannot be cured unless a human being understands the source, that real companion is within himself, that eternal power is within himself. Atman is within himself. Now see, your friendship with the weak, as I told you yesterday, meek body is not very healthy. Your friendship with your mind is equally dangerous because it is not trained, it is clouded, it is scattered, it is dissipated. You find it outside with everybody. You are in search of somebody who gives you that thing which you are searching, you cannot explain. It is inexplicable. That you will find in the center within you, deep down in the inner recesses. Your friend is sitting there waiting for you. Waiting with open arms to embrace you. But you are not going, you are running here and there. This is small, something will give me everlasting peace. No, it will give you joy. It's just like trying to chew, trying to satisfy your thirst by chewing the weed floating on the surface of the lake of life. Little bit contents you get, but thirst is not quenched. Human thirst will be quenched when human thirst dived deep within itself. One of the great sages say, when you go to the ocean, you find shell floating. But you don't find pearls floating. Pearls are at the bottom. And you have to dive to get the pearls. Let you learn to dive within yourself For diving within yourself, you will have to change the tendency of your mind. You will have to train your mind. Turn within. Mind. Why mind refuses to turn within? The moment mind functions, mind will run towards with the help of the senses. Immediately, the employees mind has applied, they are pests, they will immediately come. Yes, sir, you are awake. What can I do for you? A cup of tea, radio, news, newspaper. Mind will give all the orders. And you know what these senses are called? They are called devas. You often wonder, what are devas? These senses are called devas. And mind is called Indra, the king of devas. You see? So the Upanishad, in this Upanishad, devas are called your senses. I will explain in one of the mantras the beauty of the rituals that is going on perennially in the human life. You see, that is coming ahead. Today, I want to tell you that you should aspire to live for a long time. Gandhi always used to tell me, when I lived with him, he always used to tell me, son, do you know I want to live and I am going to live for 120 years? His son and I both said, if you are not killed, you will. Yeah. Because there are crazy people. As there are sages, there are crazy people. They are called demons. Who are demons? Those who become victims of the sense objects, sense pleasures furnished by the senses and are not aware of something beyond the senses. They are called demons. You see. So the third mantra says, verily these worlds of the suras are enveloped in blind darkness, and there too they all appear after death who are slayers. Something is mentioned here. Today you will come to know the meaning, real meaning of sin. First principle I am going to explain, then how to create love for duties I will explain, and then I will explain this. First principle, healthy life is cheerfulness. Now, you have some problem from your day-to-day work and you go home. You go home, but who is telling you to carry your problem? You actually don't go home, your problem goes home. And that your problem you give to your wife and children, you do not communicate with them, and that get frustrated and angry. Is it justice you are doing to your children, your spouse or others? No. So learn to do one thing. Tell yourself you cannot handle with this problem today, the office hours is over, I will handle you tomorrow. If you don't practice this, if you do not enter into a dialogue with yourself, if you don't learn this internal dialogue, remember it will go far beyond. You have disturbed your spouse, your children, your family members. Because half of you is there with the problems inside, and half of you are hugging your child and saying, I love you, kid. But kid understands, he is not feeling your love, warmth. What has happened to you, Daddy? No, I love you. He said, no, you don't love me. You are not hugging me the way you used to. You are not talking to me the way you used to. Same thing your wife says. And she gets angry and says, I am a piece of furniture at home, the way you are behaving, this is not the right way to behave. You see. and there is no communication, there is no link. Link is disturbed. So remember, the way of being cheerful is to form the habit, asking yourself, getting into a dialogue with yourself. If there is any unfinished work, I am not going to carry it out. What will happen? It is not limited to only this. It goes far beyond. When you go to sleep, then at night you dream. If you have animosity towards somebody, that person becomes monster, ugly, gets the sword and tries to chase you and kill you. For 15 minutes, your nervous system is shattered, and suddenly you wake up, you find a beautiful, wonderful bed, a great mansion. What has happened to me? But you have suffered. Dream is as real as waking state. Your experiences of waking state, comparing to your dreams, are one and the same. Neither they last for a long time, nor these, you see, experiences last for all time. Question of time, period. Learn to be cheerful. Cheerfulness is the biggest physician that heals. Ayurveda system explains this. Yoga system explains this. How will you be cheerful? What is the principle that you are cheerful? There is one thing. I have come to this earth just on a journey. Even the great prophets whom we follow and the great religion, founders of the religions, are not there today. They have left their sayings and books and tombs, but they are not there. Alas, what a disappointment. We have to leave from this world. We are going through a journey. And in this journey there is a procession, huge procession. When you walk in the procession, you should be careful. You should not allow anyone to hit you. You should not hit anyone. 1 point. You are in a procession. You are not at home. That's not your home. When you come from a distance, what do you become? You become a guest. You are not a host. So this world is a guest house, and you are a host. A host should learn to behave properly. And a guest should learn to behave properly at host's house. You are guest in this world. You are going through this world. This world, on the journey, you are passing through this. I am on the journey. Suppose Swami Rama had many things in India, and he wanted to bring all things here. Whatever he had, beautiful things. Paintings, some antiques, and this and that. I would become a donkey. You are on a journey. Why do you want to accumulate many things? Tell me. Creating problems for yourself. Don't do that. Learn to earn your means, which make you comfortable, but do not lust and accumulate and hoard, for that is a way of exploiting others and being exploited by yourself. Exploiter exploits himself, his resources, and exploits others both. He suffers. So always think that I am on a journey. What a wonderful journey. You see. If you are sensible, if you are a good person, good means good to yourself, then world is beautiful for you. If you are frustrated, unhappy, world is hell for you. If you are a Swami, world is God for you. It's Brahman. It has come out of Brahman. You are Brahman, all Brahman. These faces belong to Brahman. Who else exists except Brahman? You see things as according to your own vichara. You see. So if you do not know how to live in the world, if you do not know the technique of living and being in the world, then you suffer. And first bondage that is created by your own actions, karma. For you human being cannot live without doing actions. You have to be free from this round of births and deaths, which creates all this repetition. And you are fed up one day. So don't forget the story was not completed. When we went to the mountain to drink that water from the perennial fountain, realized he came back and he said, now what is the way? So that way, entire way is being explained here. You see. The third mantra says, you are constantly killing yourself. This is the point. Do you want to be a killer? Tell me. No, nobody wants to be a killer. But you all are killing yourself. Yourself means Atman. How can you kill Atman when Atman is not subject to death, decay and destruction? Your conscience. You are doing something which you should not do. You are not doing something which you should do. What is it called? Killing. What is the greatest of all sins that has been known by human beings and by the gods and by the prophets? Killing thy own conscience. There is punishment for everything, but when you punish yourself, there is no way out. So, oh human being, you are constantly killing your conscience. Don't do that. That is not the way of happiness. That is not the way of unfoldment. That is not rewarding. Why are you doing it? Lack of training, bad teaching. You can train yourself. To find God is the easiest one, I tell you. You rely on your wife and children and husband and others so much. Why do you not rely on the God within you, which is so close and near to you? Because you are taught, you have bad teaching. Where is God? You always should say like that. I haven't seen you telling, it's here. The moment you change your finger towards this, just, you have to bend it. So there was one sage in Punjab, Somebody went to him, a wise man went to him, and said, sir, give me the gist as he asked. Tell me the gist, how to grease the duties with love. So he also asked, give me the gist of meeting God. He said, Rabda ki pauna, itho torna, utho launa. Easy to meet God. Disconnect here, connect yourself there. Disconnecting yourself is not so easy because of your deep-rooted habit. You will find sometimes cursing yourself when your habit patterns mislead you. You see, you don't want to do something, but your habit motivates you to do something. That tussle is a great torture. The seers say you are constantly killing your Atman, your conscience. You see, you are constantly killing it. So when you constantly kill your own self, that is the biggest of sins, and nobody can ever help you. No one. Priest himself is killing. Where will you go for confession? You see. For other sins, you commit a theft, you go to priest. Sir, I have committed theft. You say, okay, remember Lord Jesus Christ. Many, many times do this, remember this, Mother Mary's mantra, remember, do this charity, do some church work. But when you are constantly killing, and priest is also constantly killing, and everyone is constantly killing his Atman, for such sins, where is the confession? So Upanishads say, you cannot be free from this sin unless you stop killing your conscience. You have to stop killing your conscience. Now, sometimes, what is that conscience? Sometimes your ego, which is the main part of your mind, comes forward and says, I am everything. Many of you think that you pray to God. Many of you think that you meditate. And I say no, and you get frustrated and you get angry on me. How come, Swamiji, we have been meditating for a long time and today suddenly you say you don't meditate? You have been meditating on your ego, feeding your ego. That's why I'm telling you, son, don't feel bad. Why did you not tell me before? I said you never came out with this statement that you are a good meditator. Kabira, one of the great sages, said, "O man, you are dying, but that which is ever young and ever fresh in you is your desire for lust. It is still there. You have become old, you are dying, you cannot move your limbs. But the lust for enjoyment is so young, it is getting younger and younger like Johnny Walker." You see? So we have to see those trishnas within us. Such people who do not know how to go beyond the mire of senses, whom the senses, these devas, stop going beyond, suffer, and they go on killing their conscience. So what will happen? They are reborn in dark circumstances. They don't get opportunity in next life because what are you going to do tomorrow? Simple problem we can solve. Whatever you are going to do today, on the same basis you will be modeling your tomorrow schedule. You are preparing your tomorrow now. Difference, when I tell you to meditate and to pray, what happens to you when you meditate and pray? I want you to bring your tomorrow today and today now. And that's what meditation is. Whenever anyone asks what is the definition of meditation, meditation means bringing tomorrow today and today now. And here now is called meditation, where you make your mind free from all, you see, past imaginations and future thinking. You see. So this says, if you do not know the way of doing your duties with love, and do not learn to deal with the fruits therein, then you will go to the world, even after death, you will be here also. Your minds and your individuality remains in the ignorance. You will go to the ignorant. You will be born in the ignorant family, where you will not have opportunity to study, where you will not find environment to study, to know. You see. Do not slay yourself. First thing is to stop. Learn to appreciate yourself, I will ask one thing. Many of you have a habit of condemning yourself. I have seen beautiful person, I have come in touch, they are highly qualified. Why do you do? I condemn myself. Why do you condemn yourself? No answer. My mother used to condemn herself. This is the answer. My father used to condemn himself. You see. We are always taught you are not good. No, you have to learn. You have to not to accept such suggestions from others, negative suggestions. You have to understand to be strong and never do that. Do not slay yourself. Do not slay your resources. Do not slay yourself, for it is not going to help you. It will not help you here. It will not help you hereafter. Don't do that. Now, first part of the Upanishad is complete. This is only first part, 3 mantras. Second part is more glorious than the first part. What is that center of happiness, everlasting happiness, which you call Atman? When you call Paramatman or Brahman, there are 2 words. Atman means that which is within. Paramatman is that which is everywhere. No difference. But the word Atman reminds you it is within you, it is within you, it is within you, it is within you. So that's why we are using the word Atman. Now we have to say a little bit something. There are 3 units you should understand. Body, senses, breath, and conscious mind is 1 unit. Body is composed of many components. Then senses, sense perception, knowledge depending on the senses, knowledge received through senses. This is 1 unit. Second unit is unconscious mind, which is the reservoir of and bed of memory, and all that we do, it's recorded there within us. There is no heavens when our deeds are recorded. They are recorded by our unconscious mind. This is truth. We are afraid that perhaps we are doing something wrong. There is somebody outside us. There is an office where everything is being... It is within us that is being recorded. It's unconscious mind. That little part of mind which we use in our daily life has no access. Why? Because it's a small part of the totality of the mind. 1 point, it's not pure, it's not purified because it's clouded. 2 point, it is scattered. 3 points. There are 3 points that this little part of mind which we use in our daily life during conscious state, waking state, we are awake, we are using that part of mind, which we culture, which we cultivate, which we educate, a small part of mind. The totality of the mind remains unknown to us. The great men like Jesus Christ, you see, Moses, Krishna, Buddha, what did they do? They knew the technique to bring forward the totality of the mind and started using its power. God was with me exactly the way God was with Christ. But Christ was called Son of God and I am not called Son of God. This is the difference. Why did he become Son of God? Because between him and God the power lies that is called mind. He knew how to use it. Poor Swami doesn't know how to use it. That's why he is not called Son of God. We all are children of God, but nobody calls us children of God. Because we do not know how to use the wealth that lies between we and reality. So that unconscious mind and individual soul means there are no souls, there is no division of souls, there is no God who had a knife to cut soul from one soul to another. There is only one spirit. We are like wavelets in the vast ocean of the bliss. You see. During this Upanishad, you will build that concept before you build. Don't go home. Build the concept and then go home, enjoy. Be fearless. At least Upanishadic philosophy gives you one wisdom, and that's called be fearless all the time. Not being nastily fearless. Don't tell your husband, I have learned something, and you stupid, you don't know anything, I am fearless. Don't do that. When you are fearless, means fearlessness through knowledge. No ignorance. When ignorance is dispelled, fearlessness comes. All fears come within the domain of ignorance. Third is called these two units. Individual soul. Why I am individual? Because I have one vehicle with me, and that's my unconscious mind. I am driving that vehicle, I am attached to it, that's why I am called individual. Now, what is the difference between me and the spirit? If I drop this individuality, I am the same. The day I meet the ocean, I am ocean. I have separated myself because I am a drop of water. I am so little, having all the qualities. Qualitatively, I and the ocean are one and the same, but not quantitatively, because I am not meeting. Your individual have all the qualities. All the qualities that spirit has, universal self has, God has. Who made you? From where have you come? You are children of God. All the blood that is flowing in your veins has come from God. Who could do this miracle? You don't look alike. What a big miracle. Put all millions of people in one row. That architect is unique. Never makes the same face. Still, it is not exhausted. His resources. You see? At the same time, eyes, ears and nose are exactly at the same place. Look at the architecture. Wonder of wonders. Satyasa Satyam, truth of truths. So, that other unit is pure Atman without any upadhi, without any imposition, without any superimposition. So there are three units you should understand. First unit calls mortal unit. Second is called semi-immortal. And third is called totally immortal, pure Atman. There is no difference between Atman and Brahman. Brahma, Atma, there is no difference at all, provided you have realized that. You see. This you will come to know when I will explain to you the nature of Akasha. You will come to know why it is not the difference. The space of this room and the space outside is one and the same. Because you are seeing the walls and then calculating this space, so you call it individual self. The space outside, the horizon outside is so vast, you see. But the space is space, one and the same. Akasha is Akasha, whether it is within me, outside this room. We will explain it in that way. First, you should learn and decide today, I am not going to slave my Atman, no matter what happens. This is not egotistical proposition, realistic way of living. I will follow my conscience. Many a times, whole day, I don't follow my conscience. I just follow my mind, my ego. You see. I should follow my conscience. What my conscience says? My conscience says, idam sarvam isha vacham. This all is covered by Lord. I have to know it first. All that I have, I will apply all the means to know Him. All that I have is grace of God, gift He has given. Why has He given? So that I know Him. Why should I know Him? So that I know myself, self of all. I am that. Upanishads make you that you are. Thou art that. So, I will talk to you again tomorrow. God bless you.